I wish I could describe the smell. It's it makes me happy. Well, I've been out here scraping today. We have been getting a site prepped because we have a new barn coming in. We're getting a metal frame barn put in. I'm not building it, I'm just doing the site prep. We're gonna have somebody come in and do it for us because they can do it in a couple of days. And it's a small barn. Lauren told me it wasn't a very big barn, but truth is, I'm not a very big farmer. So a small barn suits me just fine. It'll give us about 10 times as much space as that first goat barn did for us. And that'll give us the opportunity to do some growing and give Aya some space because she's gonna be in there with them. And she'll be in a bigger pen because she's definitely outgrown the pen that she's in at night. Good. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be out here with a shovel. I've got about 4 inches of difference between a couple of the pins. I think I can knock that out in a couple of hours with a mattock and a shovel, and we should be good to go. Going inside or outside the stump?
Put it on the outside. Hi, you gotta move.
I hope they don't jump the fence. Come on over here, I need your brute strength.
Carrying us over there?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you fall away from it. What are you doing, dog? You ain't gonna be doing that once I fire it up, I'll tell you that. Well, we got the fence in. I just went around and tested it. Now that's not a lot of grass, but right now, springtime, really just isn't that much green stuff down here. There is some green stuff growing down in the swamp. I think the next place I'm gonna take them after they've eaten this up in a week or so is down in that swamp area, cut a little piece of it off, let them get in there and eat some of that heavy stuff. I'm gonna find out if I can get them over on that little field without a bucket of grain for them to follow me. They certainly seem interested. We do, Margot. Come on. Here, goat. Come on, goat. Here, goat. Come on. Here, goat. Here, goat. Well, it doesn't always work the way you plan it.
Twiggy.
She's so happy.
She's happy. It's green grass. This is exactly what the grass needs. They're so happy.
8,000 volts. Yeah.
Okay.
That'll get your attention. Same on this one.
All right. Hi, Margo. Hi, Margo. Okay. I'm such a cheap date.
You keep telling yourself that. Yeah. This ain't cost me a penny.
That's true. Okay, if you look at it that way.
Well, the goats are pretty happy on that new grass. I've got some work to do over here with this new area that we're going to be building a barn on. I've got to get it set up so everything is dead level. Now you can see I've been in here with the mattock digging basically a guide for it because I know where it has to be. I've set the level and I have the line. I just haven't been able to get much traction with it pulling with the box blade. Now If I didn't have this equipment, I would probably hire somebody to come in with a skid steer and they would have this done in a day. But I've got some equipment. I can't bring myself to pay somebody a couple $1,000s to come in and level the spot if I know that I can do it if I take my time. There's not much for me to do because this is a very flat space. I feel like the land chooses where you're going to do things if you'll listen to it. It's why we put the house where it is. It's why we put that first little goat barn over there. And we're gonna leave that over there. We toyed with the idea of towing it across and putting it in an area for the bucks to live in, but I'm actually gonna leave it because there are gonna be times that we have new goats that come in. We're gonna wanna sequester them for a little while and we'll put them over there in that pen. But it's nice to have a different area that we can actually put some of the other goats in. What I need to do here is get this pulled flat. It rained 2 days ago, so the ground is a lot softer. After we had that burn out here and we got rid of all that debris, we smoothed the field and we raked in a bunch of seed. I'm starting to get a tiny bit of green popping up out of the ground. I want to get this done so I can focus on what I have to do for the rest of the areas out here, because I got some things coming up that are going to prevent me from being able to do any work soon. I want to make the most of the time that I've got. Well, it might make more interesting video to build the barn myself. I calculated out the material cost to build something along the same size as this project. I was close enough in price with just the materials that it just didn't make sense for me to try and do it myself, especially since I know that it's going to take much longer for me to do it. And since we have plans for more goats to arrive in about a month or so. It's been over 40 years since I took geometry, but the Pythagorean theorem was finally useful to me for something besides a final exam. This is a 24 by 40 foot building, so cutting a line from corner to corner, we use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I measured out the short side, drove the pins at 24 feet, and then pulled a tape off each of them to intersect at 40 and 46.65 feet. And that's where I put the other corner pin. Just repeat that same thing on the other side and you've got the lines all laid out. Thank you, Mrs. Inge, wherever you are. Don't touch it. It'll zap you. Well, it is springtime. It is gorgeous out here. Sun hit the mountain this morning. It was a beautiful thing to behold. I've got some work I got to get done. I've been picking at this site that they're going to build the barn for me, and I really haven't done what I need to get done with it. I've got most of it leveled, but I haven't created the swales around it. I have it set up so they can come in. Ow, that hurt. I have it set up so that they can come in and put the barn up, but I haven't created the swales around it. And when it rains right now, water collects right at the edge of where the barn's going to be, and it's kind of collecting in an area where my animals are going to be. So I have to get the swales created, and I've been pulling at it with the tractor, and I haven't been happy with how much dirt that's pulling. So I'm going to jump in here in the excavator if I can get started, and I'm going to go over there and I'm just going to cut a little bit, and then I'll come back with the tractor and pretty it up. So I'm just going to peel about 6 inches of this soil off, and then I'm going to deal with it with a box blade to make it pretty. But I want it to be about 15 or 20 feet wide, so there's not a lot of heavy runoff from it. Well, it looks like I uncovered an old burn pile. This is probably from about 6-7 years ago. Well, you know, I just had my last debris pile for this area burned this year, so it took a while. But I'm gonna fill that in. I'll pull some dirt across it, fill it in. I'm just gonna grade this a little bit so that when it rains right here, the water goes that way and just kind of goes across the field, goes down toward the ditch and the swale at the side of the road. Hopefully that won't take me too long since I've already loosened up that dirt. Like, things happen around here lately, really since we moved in. there's not a full continuity of start this job, finish this job today. We're usually picking at about 6 or 7 different things at one time, rotating with the weather and with the opportunities, whether or not we want to be working in the house or outside. And today is no different. I had to jump out on the road and smooth the road out because we had a lot of potholes from the rain. But people have been asking how the trees are doing. How's the orchard? Well, the orchard's doing really well. Looking really good. I got to take care of these little nasty caterpillars, but aside from that, the orchard's doing really well. This is a Hughes crab. It's one of my favorite trees. We have a lot of them here, and since it's just starting to bloom, I've got to spray because we got hit really bad with fire blight a couple years ago, and I thought we were going to lose just about every tree in here. We ended up only losing about 10. Since the sprayer's working and the tractor's running, I got to get it done now. Spraying the trees is one of the least glamorous jobs on the farm. But if you take a moment while you're doing it, there's still a lot to appreciate. Bad. You guys have a pretty good view too. Well, that was pretty easy. Pretty pleased with the way that went. And what I'm spraying, you might be wondering, like, you're spraying something out here, aren't you worried about getting it on you? That's streptomycin. Basically, that's what they would give you if you had tuberculosis. It's not gonna hurt me at all. When these trees are in bloom, it's gonna help prevent them from getting infected. In this area in Virginia, fire blight's almost a way of life if you're growing any kind of palm fruit. So it's something you gotta deal with. It's horribly unpleasant, and it can be devastating when it happens. These trees have been in the ground for 8 years, and we have yet to get a real harvest. So, true to the name, it is heartbreaking, but we're ever hopeful. I wish I could describe the smell. It makes me happy. Those two have been hanging out here all season. There's also a mating pair of Canadian geese up here. Last year, we had some fledglings, goslings, whatever they're called. And as soon as they hatched out, the next day, blue heron showed up and ate them all. I'm hoping that doesn't happen again this year. Whew, I'm about to get myself. But I was supposed to be completely off from work today. I ended up having a class this morning. It is 1 o'clock. I'm off for the rest of the day. I got plenty of work I gotta do. Got a lot of things I gotta get done in the next 2 weeks. One of those is fishing. Some days I come out here and the fishing is absolute fire. And some days I don't get a bite. And the only way to find out what kind of day this is put my line in the water. So if I get lucky and I catch a couple of bass, that might be what I'm having for dinner. All right, this is the second one that I caught. Not a monster by any stretch. I'm gonna see if I can get about 5 like that, fillet them. I need to start getting some of the bass out of this pond. I have too many bass and they're suppressing my bluegill numbers pretty hard. I really want to get some of the bigger ones out. There's plenty of big ones in there. In fact, I can see them. They're just not hitting on anything. So I'm gonna change lures probably and see if I can be a little more lucky. So I changed lures, second cast. I pulled this one out. I think it's a little small. What you got here? Cut. What do you think? Keep? Throw away? I'll fillet them. All right, what I've been looking for is something like that. That is a nice fish. And that, you could fillet it up or you could just gut it, scale it, and cook it. That's a nice fish. So I'll either fillet them out and put them in the freezer for later, or we'll be cooking fish tonight. And since I'm always curious about where they weigh in, 3 pounds, 6 ounces, or maybe it's 3.62 pounds. Not bad. Well, I don't know if it'll show up, but that is the solar eclipse. And everybody said don't look at it, but I guess I did. I never did see the moon moving across the sky. I guess that means it's 3:30, and I've been fishing for about 2 hours. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get back to fishing since the fishing's good, and we'll see you guys next time.